Have you ever wondered how your favorite apps are actually built? Well, it all starts with a very specific language. So today, we're going to crack open the developer's toolbox and take a look at the essential vocabulary that really powers our entire digital world. In this quote, it really hits the nail on the head. You know, the terms we're about to cover aren't just a bunch of jargon. They are the fundamental tools you need to create, to discuss, and to understand how all of this works. Mastering them is really the first step to building anything at all. So where do we start? Well, let's begin with the stuff you already know, the parts of the software world that we all see and interact with every single day. We're going to peel back that first layer. All right, first up is the operating system, or OS for short. Seriously, this thing is the master conductor of your entire computer. It doesn't matter if you're on Windows, Mac OS, or Linux. The OS is the foundational software that manages absolutely everything. From your mouse to your keyboard to every program you run, it's the boss. Okay, so how do we actually talk to the OS? Well, there are basically two main ways. On the one hand, you've got the GUI, the graphical user interface. Think of all your buttons, icons, and menus. It's designed to be visual and super intuitive. And then on the other hand, you have the CLI, or command line interface. This is a text-based powerhouse where you type commands directly. It might not look as pretty, but man, for developers, it is incredibly fast and powerful. And what are we running on top of that OS? That's where applications, or, apps, come in. An app is really just a program built to do one specific thing. Your web browser? That's an app. Your favorite game? Yep, that's an app too. That music program you've got open? Also an app. They're the tools we use to get things done every day.
All right, time for a quick check-in. Let's see if you're with me. If you want to view a website out there on the internet, you're going to need a what? If you thought browser, like Chrome or Safari, you are spot on. Great start.
Okay, so we've covered the basics, the stuff we all see on the screen. Now, let's pull back the curtain and dive into the developer's world. We're going to look at the tools they use to actually create and fix all this software. And what's at the very heart of all this? Code. The best way to think about code is like a recipe. It's just a set of really precise instructions written in a special language that tells the computer exactly what to do step by step to get a certain result. Every single application is built from lines of code. So what happens when there's a typo in that recipe? You get a bug. And here's a fun little piece of trivia for you. The term came from a literal moth that got stuck in one of the first computers. So yeah, a bug is just an error in the code that makes something go wrong. And the process of hunting that error down and fixing it, that's called debugging. You're basically a code detective. Okay, but wait. If you have a whole team of people writing code, how do you stop it from turning into a total mess? Well, that's where something called version control comes in. The most popular one is called Git. Imagine it's like a time machine for your code. It saves a complete history of every single change, so you can always go back in time and see who changed what. It is absolutely essential for teamwork. Time for our second checkpoint. Let's fill in the blank here. To get a whole team working on the same code, they use a tool like Git for version control. Exactly. See, you're totally getting this. We've seen what the user sees, and we've peeked at the developer's tools. Now, let's talk about the invisible architecture, the magic that connects everything in a modern app. First up, we have the front end. This is literally everything you see and touch on a website or an app. The buttons, the text, the images. If we think of an app like a restaurant, the front end is the dining room. It's where you, the customer, sit down, look at the menu, and enjoy your meal. It's the whole visual experience. And if the front end is the dining room, then the back end is the kitchen. This is the part of the application that the user never, ever sees. It's the brain of the operation. The back end manages the database, it handles your login, it runs all the complex logic that makes the app actually work. It's where all the magic happens behind the scenes. Okay, so how does the dining room talk to the kitchen? They don't just shout back and forth, right? That's where the API comes in, the Application Programming Interface. In our restaurant, the API is the waiter. The customer, which is the front end, gives an order to the waiter, the API. The waiter takes it to the kitchen, the back end, and then brings the food back out. It is the critical messenger that connects the two worlds. All right, pop quiz time. Little acronym challenge for you. What does API actually stand for? Is it A, Advanced Program Interaction, B, Application Programming Interface, or C, Automated Process Integration? I'll give you a second to think about it. And the answer is B, application programming interface. It seems simple, right? That idea of a waiter, but that concept is the absolute backbone of pretty much all modern software. Nice job. Okay, so we know all the individual parts now, but how do professional teams actually put it all together to build something and release it to the world efficiently? Let's look at the process, how they turn a project into a real product. A lot of modern teams use a method called Agile, and a popular way to do that is called Scrum. The big idea here is that instead of trying to build the entire app in one giant go, they break the work down into short cycles called sprints. These usually last a week or two. In each sprint, they plan, build, and review a small piece of the final product. It lets them adapt and improve as they go. And to make this process even faster, teams use what's called CI/CD. Now, that's a mouthful. It stands for continuous integration and continuous deployment. But really, you can just think of it as an automated assembly line for code. A developer writes something, it gets automatically tested and merged, and then it gets automatically sent out to users. It's all about moving fast while staying reliable. Okay, here it is, our final checkpoint. The process of making an app available to users, that very last step in the pipeline. What do we call that? If you said deployment, you absolutely nailed it. Wow, okay, we have covered a ton of ground today, right? From what you see on your screen all the way to what a developer types on their keyboard. So let's just do a quick recap and talk about where you go from here. So what are the key things to remember? Number 1, this vocabulary is your new essential toolkit. Number 2, everything is connected, from the front end you see to the back end logic you don't. And number 3, modern processes like Agile and CI/CD are really the secret sauce for how teams build incredible things together. And that's a wrap. But I want to leave you with one final thought to take with you. Now that you know this language, what new concept are you going to use to describe the tech you use every day? Maybe when you order food on an app, you'll think about the API, or you'll notice the front end of your favorite website. Thanks so much for joining me.